Good morning. I am Andrea Goeglein, and it is 2025. And as such, you are watching the first installment of something that will go on for 6 whole months if you are brave enough to join. It's the 2025 Unicorn Ageless Edge Big Goal Challenge. Now, that's a whole lot of words, so let me tell you what the deal is. First, if in fact you sign up and you do a donation of any size to Teach for America Las Vegas, you will be able to actually be on these calls with me because you'll get this link in order to participate live and bring your questions back in, where I think it is the greatest value of having both myself and also other participants. However, know that in goal setting in life, when you set a goal for yourself and you believe in it, show up whether anyone else does or not. That's one of the first criteria of whether or not you're serious about what you say you want to achieve in life. So let me know that today, to the best of my knowledge, I've checked all the various sources. I don't believe anyone has signed up. That doesn't mean that they, in fact, have not gone and downloaded the free book and all of those things. So let me just start from the beginning. In order to participate fully in this experience for the next 6 months, what I am saying is that this is not the base unicorn challenge. It's maybe the unicorn challenge on steroids, because at a minimum, when you come into this work, when you start thinking about bigger goals, if you don't have your reflective practice in place, if you don't know your strengths, again, the values in action, it's free. You can do it. And if you do not do those things, then you will, in fact, not have. I've got to pause a moment. I have to make sure. Oh, good, it is recording. It's always good to check. It's the beginning of the year. Some things have changed on the screen. So your reflective practice, your values in action, which are your top 5 strengths, the things that actually energetically, vibrationally, that when you're in that place of using those strengths, you actually want to continue to do the things that you're doing. So it makes perfect sense to know what those values are, what those strengths are, use them in your daily life, and begin to eliminate the things that maybe you're not so crazy about. And see, oh, wow, when I'm doing this job, when I'm doing these tasks, I really like it. And then also the process of the dump list. That's the writing down part. Now, that's a prerequisite, and I'm going to tell you straight. If you immediately start setting big goals, like I want to create a film studio, let's be crazy, or I want to create the next hybrid car that doesn't use either electricity or fossil fuels, whatever. I don't care what it is. What ends up happening, you will end up losing energy and losing time to put forward to actually creating what you want, because you're doing a lot of the stuff that maybe you shouldn't be doing in ways that you shouldn't be doing it. Maybe there's a lot of stuff you have to do, but if you don't know how to use your strengths to support the crap work, as much as be enthralled when you're doing the stuff you love, you actually start doing stuff over and over and doing it wrong. The dump list, I will tell you that in exercise 1, making sure you know what the habits of capturing what has to get done, or what your small goals are, and all the crap goals that are around you that need to get done. If you aren't in the habit of actually having a way to keep track of those, you are doing yourself a disservice, because once again, the natural attribute will be to do the easy stuff first. And if you aren't in the habit of getting yourself out of that habit, which is part of the unicorn challenge, it teaches you, put the most important three things at the top of your list, that when you do those things, you know that you will actually be moving forward. That's why there is a prerequisite to start playing with opening your mind and priming your mind for bigger goals. Most of us live our life, and I will tell you, I was not a big goal girl. Never have been. Just I would have a new idea and it would come in. And when I allowed myself on 2 or 3 occasions in my adult life to focus specifically on establishing bigger goals, goals that I never even thought of. And honestly, they would be an idea. Like one of them one time was, I want to be a host of a TV show. When I wrote that down, I thought I was potentially being drugged, because never, I don't need to see this face on TV. It was never a thing that I wanted. Did I end up being a guest host on a TV show? Yeah, I did. But I was doing things that I loved, which was gathering people around authors and books. And so, of course, an opportunity came my way, and I then stepped into it. Part of that is known as how to prime your subconscious. And we'll talk about that a little bit in one of the books, because you know that there are books associated with this challenge. You don't necessarily have to read them. I'm going to pick out for you the things that spoke to me, but now I'm going to tell you something else. Don't let me or anybody else pick out what's important. I'm hoping that some of the stuff I pick out all of a sudden makes you want to say, oh, wait a minute, I want to go and see this. So you now know why the prerequisites. You now know the difference between your everyday goals and cleaning up your life and just getting organized and having backup lights from your office window. And the difference between setting a much bigger, like, oh no, for me, another one was writing books. I was a terrible reader as a kid. And yet, somewhere, somehow, it came into my consciousness about wanting to write a book, but I had a very specific thought with it. I wanted to create a brand. I just didn't need to write a book. Anybody can write a book. The other part of this, and the book part is a perfect way for me to segue in. If you go to my website, www.serving, SERVING, success, SUCCESS.com, you're actually going to be able to download all these little sheets. And most importantly, you will get to download when you sign up. You're actually signing up to get the free download and the monthly exercises that we'll be going through. This will go on for 6 months. There will only be one exercise per month. Somewhere in the middle, maybe month 2 or 3, a bigger goal, something you didn't expect will come to the surface for you. You can parallel walk and start getting that in motion. But it's really about just getting you to train yourself to think bigger. So today, part 1, week 1 of this, we're actually going to focus on my book. Because as I said, I wasn't just dying to write a book. I wanted a brand. I trademarked this series as an inspirational series of self-help books. And I did that specifically when I designed this book. I was really writing it in a way that allowed you to then write your own story. Because I love me a lot. However, when you are doing work like this, it is all about you and what you are attempting to create in your life, for your life. And there's just one other part of this that I want to focus on. ageless edge. Do you know, I am 69 years old. I live with a husband of 45 years who's 90 years old. I have many friends in their 80s and their early 90s. Goals look different at that point in life. But I will tell you that goals look different in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s. The technique of how you inspire yourself does not change. When I asked a woman who's in my life, Reverend Rainbow Johnson, at 90 years old, maybe she's 91 now, what is it? She's 90. What is it that, like, what's a big goal to you? And she paused and she said, wow, honestly, each day, if I have accumulated more love in my life and I have acted in ways of love, that's a huge goal. And you know what? That's the truth. Now, it is funny because she has a community where she teaches every week on Zoom. She has clients. She inspires a lot of people and is involved with groups of people. Like, she honestly does a lot of things. I have another friend who is in her 80s and has a catering company. Now, as body parts start not feeling so good, there are younger people. And I remembered when my dad was alive and he was 80 years old and still a butcher 3 days a week. He said, hey, I do not take those kinds of beef anymore. I have the young people lift them for me and I still do the cutting. That ability to adjust on the rear end is a habit that I would love for you to get into your life in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, especially when it comes to setting bigger goals than I want a house, a car, I want to be happy, I want, the next position, whatever it is. Know that you can always have it be bigger in your own life. You can start to explore what are bigger goals doing the things that I love. So for today, with your free little copy, which you have a PDF copy of it, you will notice on the table of contents, ta-da, there are 4 principles that I work with. In each one of my books, I tell a story about an individual. This one happens to be my story for a host of reasons I don't want to go into. I really resisted doing that for a long time. But it is these questions, these questions. Are they questions? No, they're principles, because they're not actually questions. They're not questions. They will guide you. If you think about these principles from your own life, you'll begin to eat away at what do I need to look at? What's holding me back? What moves me forward? So principle number 1, change your awareness and your perspective will change. Let's just start, like, the concept that you could actually have and achieve a very big goal is, and for many people, a perspective that you will tell me how you're lucky you're making it, how, you are so successful. The only thing you get to do is exactly what you're doing. You don't get to do the thing that is this bigger goal that you want to do because you're so focused on the company you created. I don't care what story you're telling yourself. The first step is change your awareness. Become aware of how you're thinking. And that you do by listening to the things you say internally and the little cute things that come out of your mouth, like, oh no, I can't do that. I've got a company to run. Or when you say another one that is, oh, I would really love to, but whatever comes after that but is your excuse. Just know that. Then principle 2, we teach what we need to learn. This is one of my favorite ones. If you look in your life and you find yourself pontificating to a friend or a coworker or a family member about something that you can clearly see they do not do so well, that's what you need to learn for yourself. And as a hint, you are most likely holding yourself back in some way from thinking creatively, from having bigger goals, because you haven't quite cleaned up your own act yet. So teaching what you need to learn means that you have observed, go back to the first one, awareness and your perspective. Look at that. I'm teaching this, but I'm not walking that talk. These are all ways to get through those little hurdles. Then the next principle, you can make excuses or you can achieve your goals, but you cannot do both. That's where the but comes in. We are very like, I want to do this. I don't care if it's, I want, 3% more muscle mass, or I want $100,000 more in income, or I want to have a regular savings plan, or I want to create a company in this field, or I want to grow my company. I don't care what it is. Whatever comes after but there's not the financing available, but the industry is changing so quickly, I'll never succeed. But I'm lucky I can pay my bills right now. How could I possibly save money? There's nobody who's ever been paid this much before for this job. Whatever your excuse is, whatever your but is, you can't have it both ways. You're going to have to make a choice. Again, become aware of, then the choice is, do I want to change my perspective? Where am I giving other people advice? What excuses am I making? And then the last one is, experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. That's otherwise known as failure. My life has had more outward failures than outward successes. I will say that again. My life has more outward failures than outward successes. And it's not because I'm a slow learner. It is because it is through me trying things, like it is, don't die waiting to be brave. It is in constantly trying that small stuff. The brave stuff is not running into a fiery building and saving someone. Yes, that's bravery. But being brave on the day-to-day basis, where you're catching yourself, you're becoming aware of the perspectives you hold and how you need to change them. It's very uncomfortable to change. It's very uncomfortable to change the way we think. It is not easy stuff at all. So what I want you to do is, throughout the next 30 days, and when you sign up, you will get this first month exercise, and it will say exercise 1. This was the draft where it said January. You may not be doing it in January. And I'm going to go over what this is, because I know that you are going to think this is so monotonous and like, you're so great, you don't need 30 days to do anything. Do not get me started. Just don't get me started. But I want to give you prompts on how to actually spend the next 30 days if you want to seed and begin to spark. So think about how you will. This is so elementary. You're going to like, me, but I don't care. The first thing I want you to do, the how part, how are you going to capture the thoughts? You're in the middle of doing a work task, and all of a sudden you say, I could really design a system a whole lot better than this. Actually, I could design a software system a whole lot better than this. Capture it. You may, at that moment, just think you're blowing off steam, but you may be seeding the possibility of something that you want to do to solve a problem and then be able to sell it. You never know if you don't capture it and allow the thought to come back and give it some thought, like maybe when you're out jogging in the morning or doing your exercise in the gym or lifting weights, you can actually begin to think like, could I actually do that? And what would I need to do it? But you won't have it if you don't have it captured. I use, although I'm a person who writes a lot and I have all sorts of notebooks because I'm visual, my phone and my notes and being able to dictate is gold for me because I never have an excuse to capture a thought and then go back to it again and see if it's worth anything. Then, so what are you capturing? Again, it's on this little worksheet, but I'll tell you, like, you want to catch your inspiring thoughts. But then I want you to think about, what are you doing when you're the happiest? Like, what exactly are you doing in your daily life and in your work life, in your community? What are you actually doing? If you truly believe that there was nothing that you could do, there was no barrier, money, energy, time, family, I don't care what excuse you have, no barrier. What would you love to create in the next 12 months? That's a really heavy one, you know. It is you saying, you know, I won the proverbial lottery. First, you have to play. That is like step one. But, and I don't recommend that. I happen to play the lottery. It's a family tradition. It's a remembrance to my father. And for $3, I can afford to play the lottery. But it is something that symbolically, I actually carry my father's last lottery tickets that he sent me to the store to buy in my wallet. It is honestly the way sometimes I have a cross on or something around my neck. It helps me remember. Why do you want to accomplish the goal? Now, say, you know, you had some brain fart, you know, step back and say, what, you know, like when I said about the host wanting to be a TV host, honest to goodness, I had no desire whatsoever to be a TV host. And I'll tell you another thing in these exercises. In my years that I was doing a lot of one-on-one consulting with business owners, I chose to work with business owners versus top CEOs for a very specific reason. I felt more connected to people whose actions were connected to their checkbooks. I like when people create environments where this is their baby. I also enjoy working with corporate executives and corporate CEOs, but it's a very different, you know, the excuses are quarterly returns. I was just in one of those conversations recently over dinner. And until we change our perspective about quarterly returns, we're brave enough to change that perspective. Yeah, not so much is going to change. And I'm not going to, I want to, I'd rather see you inspired to take action than have a legal excuse why you think you can't. And then this is very important. Now, I've kind of left this for the last. You need to use AI chat. I use Chat GPT every day. Every day. Why am I saying that? One, because you have to let your hand go in the mouth of the dragon and know that you can keep it open. Because I believe, as the CEO of, I never say the name of the company right, Nevia, he basically said that AI is not going to take your job. People who use AI are going to take your job. And I believe, like, I have a goal this year to consolidate a lot of the writings that I've done over the last 15 years under my trademark and do one concluding book. And, you know, for me, that's a goal centered around the fact that I'm going to be turning 70 this year, that I want to start a new phase of things, and I'm in that process of building and creating. And for me, it's all inspirational and technology based. But it is so critical for you to do that. AI has to become the friend you never thought you needed, because you will be able to train yourself to see the mistakes it makes and see how it can inspire your thinking in ways that it did not before. So the focus for this next 30 days, and we will meet again at the end of the month. I think it's Wednesday, the 29th. I will put it on LinkedIn and YouTube. Primarily, those are my only two vehicles that I use. You'll have this free download with those questions. You'll have this to work through. And then I want to just highlight out of chapter 1 of Big Goals. This is a new book by Carolyn Adams Miller. Miller Adams, I always get her name backwards. There, Adams Miller. Oh, it's up at the top. Adams Miller. I don't know why I've been doing this woman's books for a long time. And it is because she came out of Marty Seligman's positive psychology map program. And she wrote a book called Creating Your Best Day, where she took all the best research. So know my bias. I like when all of the things that I'm talking about vibrationally and inspirationally are backed by good science. It is that I like not allowing you to have one more excuse on why you won't do something. So this book in chapter 1, one of the call outs, and I like the way she's done that in this book. That means that they call out a certain part. Setting a goal has a big impact on conscious and subconscious behavior. It creates focus. It causes us to scan our minds for what skills and people we will need to know. It creates hope and screens out spam that doesn't match the goal. And we are energized with zest and curiosity. What this is basically saying, you spending 30 days playing and just allowing all the thoughts to float and capturing them down, what you're doing is allowing your mind to really open up. And you'll be able to say, am I afraid to do this goal? Am I saying that this is too big and I can't do it? When we start getting closer in months 2 and 3 to actually saying, okay, what are you brave enough to actually put the stake in the ground on? What I like about this book, as I started, she does do the comparison. So what she's done is she's taken a lot of what we call in academia, the ivory tower, and she has put it in conversational. She also adds in, for women watching this, she has done deep work on how goal setting, like medicine, like employment, like a lot of things, eliminated women from the examples. And then there weren't examples of how women could do those things because you weren't seeing someone who looked like you. And I'll tell you a brief story of why that, out of those first 2 chapters, really stuck with me. Back in 06, 07, and 08, I had the Prescott Professional Women's Conference. I held it at a small hotel that I had. Well, it wasn't such a small hotel. It was a big hotel with 60 employees in Prescott, Arizona. And it was allowing me to bring authors. That's why I do everything with books, in addition to my academic training. Authors who were great speakers, and they would inspire you on a topic. And I am a person, I had, been doing some training for myself on how to do presentations and being an inspiring speaker. Not my strong suit, I have to admit. And one of the things, you were supposed to tell jokes. Well, there is nothing. I mean, I love jokes, but the minute I say a joke or I hear a joke, it's like someone eats it out of my brain. I don't remember it at all. So I decided to go through my catalog of Harvard Business Review magazines, which I had for, I must have had 20 years worth. And they have cartoons in them. And I decided I was going to build a story using the cartoons. I now do that using music, which is another thing that you do not want me singing. but I do use the same technique. What I realized when I was putting the presentation together was like, oh my God, there are no women sitting in these cartoons, a cartoon. There is no women leading the meetings. The women were around the table, but there were no women leading the meetings. There were no women standing up at the podiums. There was no, like, whatever the cartoon subject was about, there were women in the mix, but never in the mix of leadership. Caroline really has that come out as something, as an example of how you hold yourself back from goals because you don't see other people. Yes, we've all heard the stories of people who are inspired and can automatically set huge goals and do all that. Yeah. We're not mostly all like that. I'm not like that. But this book also has that work in it. But I just want you to focus on the fact that the reason I'm guiding you to spend 30 days just really letting stuff flow in using whatever mechanisms you use is because you will actually start sparking yourself and seeing where it is. And then if you go back and ask the question like, if you're a munchkin, has a munchkin ever done this before? Has a woman ever achieved this? And AI can help answer those questions very quickly, or at least give you bad information quickly, and you can then go find out the accurate information. So remember, capture the information, use the prompts, use AI every day. For now, I want to stop. I am Andrea Goeglein. Thank you for joining me, even if it was on the replay. Leave comments. I'll do my best to answer them, always respectfully, and do sign up. I would love to have your face on this call with me. The next, and I will just end this by telling you when the next one is. Yes, it is on Lunar New Year. Nope, it's not on Lunar New Year. Oops. When do I have that next one? Nope, I have a board meeting on Lunar New Year. Oops. I'll let you know when it is. Right now, I don't have it, but I know that it will be somewhere at the end of January. Oh, yes, it is on the 29th. I know what I'm doing. Yes, it is on Wednesday, the 29th of January. I have made arrangements after that board meeting to use one of their offices or one of their studios. It happens to be at a public radio board meeting. So I will have a place to actually do this call. So I will see you at the end of the month. You know how to get in touch with me, LinkedIn and YouTube, or through my email, which you can get. Just don't leave messages for me on Facebook or Instagram or Threads or all that thing. I just don't have the time to go to those types of things. I stay as very focused. That's one of the things you'll learn from me. Do what you like, stay focused, and you'll get more done. Thank you. And now I'm going to turn the recording off. Yay!